Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Tiffany and I am a therapist making occasional videos, kind of sharing different parts of my life, day in the life of a therapist type things. And this is week 2 of cycle syncing. I shared a video of I've been cycle syncing my workouts, meaning kind of leaning into workouts that are kind of optimized for where I'm at in my menstrual cycle, very loosely as just a guide, not a rigid set of rules. And so I took you along last week for that. And I also got the thermometer smart ring last week. And so I've been wearing that for, I guess it's almost a week. I think I got it on Wednesday. Today's Monday. I've been doing that. If that sounds interesting to you, I'm glad you're here. Come along. I typically try my very best, and most of the time am successful at getting up and exercising at 6 in the morning, or it's probably usually 6:15. But we are not perfect, and I got this time by spring ahead. Was yesterday, and I forgot to set my alarm last night, and so my husband woke up and was like, it's 6:20. Now technically I can still get in a workout if I start it by 6:30. I only do 15 minutes. I leave with my kids at 7:10, and I really try to be totally done working out by like 6:45, 7 at the very latest. So I almost could have gotten on, but it would have taken, like, I at least like to go to the bathroom and like move a little bit before I hop on the bike, which is what I was planning to do this morning. So now I'm kind of stuck because I could go upstairs now and do it. I'm off of work today, but I really want to get to Costco early at 9 because I have a work lunch thing at noon, and it takes a long time for me to go to Costco and do all the things and then do something by noon. I do that frequently where I have something at noon and I need to get to Costco pretty darn early to be able to fit that in. So both those things are really important today. I am considering taking a walk. If you followed my video last week, I did a 20-minute 80s walk. It's one of my all-time favorite Peloton workouts. I've been doing it for years at this point, every once in a while. So it's a great little walk to take. However, I have plantar fasciitis right now. And the last 2 times I did this walk, I think I tried to do it once last week and once the week before, my plantar fasciitis, which is like really intense heel pain, if you're not familiar with that, it's been going on for months, and that walk has made it a lot worse both times. And so I'm like, listen to your body, Tiffany. Do not go on a walk that you know is making things worse. But I'm really sad about that because a 20-minute walk shouldn't have me in tears hours later, but that's what's been happening. Like, it's been pretty severe. So I don't want to do that, but I also am trying to figure out, like, what is it that is exacerbating it? Was it the shoes? So I have on different shoes today. Would that help? I have, like, my plantar fasciitis inserts in the shoes today, so I don't know what to do. So I'm kind of at a stuck point. So sometimes that's what happens. I'll let you know what I end up deciding. All right, so I'm waiting in line at the Kirkland gas station. If you know, you know. Or is that unique to my Costco? I don't know, where it like is always quite busy and you just kind of have to wait for a tank or a pump. Anyway, I am reminded at just how much of a workout going to Costco is. Like, just all the walking at the store and then loading everything in the car, and then I still have unloading to do. So I'm glad I didn't push it and try to take a walk, because I think my foot would have really been hurting and it would have been hard to do this job. So finding self-compassion in that. Maybe I'll work in a stretch or something later, or maybe a 15-minute cycle ride today. I don't know how it will pan out, but I do feel good about the movement that I got in just by going to Costco. Well, I am not off to a strong start this week. So yesterday, like I didn't set an alarm at all and woke up late. Today, I was like, what the heck? I set an alarm and I set it for PM instead of AM. So I did, however, get up and do a 10-minute core workout. I did the phase 1 of the postnatal core. If you watched my last week's video on the first week of cycle syncing, I had done like a beginner core class with Matty Majacomo. I really like him, but as I was thinking, I was like, I don't know how much I trust his beginner core workouts for somebody who is postpartum. Well, I'm not postpartum. I'm 6 years after my last baby, but I've had a lot of babies, and I wanted to like really tune in to kind of focused core care for anybody who's given birth in the past, because that can be like a tricky area. Even though I liked that workout, I was like, I want to try out these core classes, maybe start there. Honestly, it was really boring. It wasn't challenging, which is great. That's great news. But I definitely am ready to kind of move on to phase 2. I think it's fine if I want to go back to that Matty Majacomo class that I did last week, because that was a pretty good class. It's funny because this is my follicular phase, which is supposed to be like supercharge, really challenge yourself. And the last 2 days that hasn't happened. So we'll see what the rest of the week brings. All right, cycle day. I don't know exactly what, but it's Wednesday in my follicular phase, which means I'm doing cardio. It's like 6:23 right now. I like to be working out by 6:15, but as long as I'm on the bike by 6:30, that's okay. Still have time to do what I need to do in the mornings. So yay, I finally made it. I was able to sync my Apple Watch, so now I can see the heart rate on the screen, which is cool. All right, well, it may not look like it because I'm in the same clothes I was earlier, but we had a little bit of a change of plans. So I did my 15-minute cardio on the bike this morning as planned, and I took today off work because I was going to chaperone my son's field trip, which was going to be an hour away at like an Indian Mound park. And there's a tornado watch today and it's storming. And it is, I think the tornado watch is even more relevant further north where we were going to be. So I was walking in to get bagels, fuel myself for this kind of long outing with these kiddos today, because we had gotten an email like it's still on. They said they had an indoor building for us if we need it, and they'll change the tour, but it was mostly supposed to be outside. And so I was like, okay. So I went in and got my bagels from my favorite bagel shop, and while I was there, a parent who I know called me and told me it was canceled. So like in that few minutes, I had gotten those 2 like notifications. I have a surprise day off today, which how lovely is that? So I'm going to tack on a 20-minute strength workout today. One, I think this is really like indicative of like this follicular phase energy, where in theory you have a little more energy, more motivation to do things like this. Whereas other days in my cycle, maybe I've been like, I already checked off my workout today, not doing anymore. But I feel good about it today. I feel like my follicular phase is finally here, unlike the last 2 days where I think just the spring forward time change got me. So I'm going to do a strength workout, and that makes me feel good since Monday and Tuesday were kind of busts. I went to Costco on Monday, which again did truly feel like a workout because Costco is a lot. But then yesterday, that core workout, it was not, didn't really feel like enough of a workout. I'm proud of myself for just being like, yeah, let's do it today while we have the chance. So join me. Whew, really good class. I'm sweating quite a bit. Yeah, really good class. Flew by. Hard. Even though it's beginner, it was hard. They're so good. I might have mentioned too that I added my Series 3, my very old Apple Watch, to the mix, and I am really liking that. It does sync with the Peloton app and gives me something called a Strive score that I didn't really know much about. So I am definitely liking this. I would say my impressions so far of the ring is this definitely doesn't like replace anything that you're using to track workouts. If you're using like a Fitbit or Garmin or Apple Watch or anything like that, I would say you're probably still gonna want that and not just the ring. Morning, I forgot to set my alarm again, but I did get up in time. I woke up at like 6:20, and by 6:30 I was doing my arms and shoulders workout. That's a nice thing about if I wake up a little later on a Tuesday or Thursday, it's so much easier than getting on the bike. Like the bike, I have to get my socks and my cycle shoes on, and it feels like more of a commitment. And then tomorrow I added a 15-minute bike ride with an instructor, I think Camila Ramon. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm not looking at the name or anything right now, so I could be totally off, but I haven't taken a class with her yet. That's the plan for now, and a cycle day 12. The app is predicting ovulation on Saturday, so I'm anticipating by next week that I'll be into my luteal phase. Some fun 90s pop vibes, for sure. Well, good morning. It is cycle day 14 and Saturday, so I was able to sleep in a bit. I am gonna hop on the bike, I think, for a bike boot camp. So in theory, I could be around ovulation right now. So this is a great time for like a little bit of a challenge, a little bit more focus on like cardio or like power strength. Again, I don't do a ton of intensity. I take it pretty easy at kind of a very moderate level, but I wasn't going to do bike boot camps. I've done a couple of them. The thing I hate about them is switching the shoes. I love the idea of cardio, then some strength, and then back to cardio and strength. I like that style workout. Like when I used to do workout classes, I feel like that's kind of what we did. So I don't mind that, but I hate having to switch out my shoes from the cycling shoes into sneakers. And back when I started this about 3 months ago, I did do a bike boot camp, and I decided to just try bare feet for the strength portion. And I don't know this for sure, but I've been struggling with plantar fasciitis since I started this, and I think that it may have been not putting on shoes in the morning that contributed to it. Like when I was doing like the strength, I thought like, oh, it's just like light dumbbells. I don't need shoes. And it's kind of confusing to me because a lot of like the exercises in, yoga or Pilates are similar to some of the movements in classic strength training, but it seems like it's really important to wear shoes. But I'm going to do a bike boot camp today because I saw that I had a really old class bookmarked that is Disney, and the music, I actually know all the music, and it just seems like it could be really fun. So I'm hoping that will get me through the like disgruntlement of having to switch shoes a couple times throughout.
What's up, friends? My name is Cody Rigsby. Welcome to your 30-minute Disney Bike Boot Camp. I'm excited to get into the playlist video, have a little magic sprinkled throughout the workout. We are getting the best of both worlds today, my friends. We've got high-intensity interval training here on the bike.
All right, well, that did fly by. That was a really fun boot camp. I'm glad I did it. The other thing I wanted to mention about shoes, I hate switching. Sometimes putting on the cycle shoes itself is a workout. Like, I can't always get the clasp to catch on the little, like, clicky tightener thing. That is part of it, but I didn't have any trouble with that today. And it was a great workout. It flew by. I think I could even go a little harder on, heavier on the weights. So that felt good, like not being totally maxed out with what I was choosing and like seeing that room for growth. That was cool. And Cody Rigsby is was the instructor doing this class, and I like him. He's really funny, but he's usually very explicit and very like potty mouth. And there was one time I was trying to do like a dance cardio workout with my kids around, and like the first thing he says was like to one of the other instructors, like, "Why are you such a SLUT?" And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a little too much. And he was joking around the whole ride of how he was going to try to be on his best behavior, and like it's a lot of work for him to resist the swear words, but it's like a Disney ride, and I didn't really want anything too crazy, so he managed to behave himself well. So I think I'll definitely come back to this boot camp, and I'm wanting to do a boot camp. I think this is a good one to do. Well, happy Monday. Happy cycle day 16 for me. Sorry about the mess in the back. I need to work on the kitchen. But Monday, I took Sunday off. That's usually one day of the weekend. I don't do any exercise. I do a meditation to keep my blue dot streak, and because I like meditation. But yeah, got back on the bike this morning, got up, my alarm was set. I was working out by 6:30 a.m. or maybe a couple minutes after, but that's always my goal. And so let's take a look at the app. I want to show you some things. Okay, so my app here, as you see, it's cycle day 16, and it's syncing, although I just pulled it up, so it should all still be accurate. I did not sleep well last night at all, as you can see, but what I really wanted to look at is my finger curve here. So my predicted ovulation was a couple days ago on cycle day 14, but as you can see, I don't really have much of a rise in temperature yet. So it has not been able to detect ovulation just yet. I'm going to take this off so you can see the curve better. I'm just going to move the temp over. But basically, if you're not familiar with how temperature works to confirm ovulation, the day after your ovulation, your temp goes up. And when you're working on a chart like this, you'll see, so over here, okay, it's 97.36. So once I ovulate, I should see a rise into, 97.6 or 0.8. You'll see a jump. I don't have that yet. So I'm pretty sure my cycles are ovulatory just because they are pretty regular. I have 4 children who were all conceived without assistance, although they did all some of them took up to a year, others I got pregnant right away. I'm just sharing that to say, like, I don't anticipate a lot of anovulatory cycles. I'm hoping that I just haven't ovulated yet and that it's not that the ring isn't picking it up, because that's pretty much my main reason for wanting this ring. So I'm going to go back here. I want to show you under analysis, current cycle interpretation. So according to past cycle, predicted on March 14th. This is interesting. It's you are in your safe phase. It's a good thing I'm not using this to avoid pregnancy. We have other things that we've done to prevent that, but I would be nervous to say I'm safe because I haven't seen that ovulation, and it's very normal to ovulate after cycle day 14. So I'm not loving the information there if I was using this for like prohibiting pregnancy. But since I'm not using it for that, that's okay. But what is interesting is the temperature curve interpretation. So it says there's no ovulation detected on your finger temperature curve. I am disappointed. It says your finger temperature data fluctuates a lot. First of all, if you look at my line up at the top, I don't think that's a huge fluctuation. And my temperature measurement habit needs to be improved. This really makes me kind of mad because if you look at the things you're supposed to do, wear the ring every night, done that. Sync data every morning, done that. Remove the ring and take charge and charge it if the battery is low. And I hate that wording, and take charge if the battery is low. I don't know. The way it's worded, really, I don't like it. It feels very blamey, like, oh, you must be doing something wrong, not like there could be something imperfect about this technology. So I'm really curious to see how this goes, and I just wanted to show you that. So my plan is to, unless I see a big temperature rise, I'm going to assume that I haven't ovulated until cycle day 20. After day 20, I'll consider myself in my luteal phase, and that either the ring wasn't working to confirm that ovulation or possibly anovulatory. But that's kind of my plan for these cycle syncing videos. So the second video, which is this video that you're watching now, should be all of my once I stopped my period through ovulation. So that's the plan. Thanks for coming along. It was a very chill ride this morning. It was a low impact ride with one of my favorites, Bradley Rose, but it was so chill. I have been reading about how it's beneficial for women over 40 to focus on sprint training. So doing really short bursts of max effort and then long recoveries in between. And I was going to try to work some of that in, but his vibe was so chill and the music was so chill that this was not the ride to try that with. So I tried a little bit of that. I'm not up that high on my heart rate. It's hard for me to get there, but it was just kind of comical. Interestingly, the ring says I only slept for 3 hours last night, which doesn't feel accurate. I thought it was closer to my 5. So I don't know what's going on with that. And then also, interestingly, I know I've been complaining about this temperature change, not knowing if it was accurate. And I did notice some cervical mucus that was close to ovulation type. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. That's one of the signs of ovulation is what things look like in your body. All right, daily check-in here. I guess not really daily, but I've already looked today. I slept 5.5 hours last night. But here's the interesting thing. This finger curve is supposed to be going up in theory, and it is going down. So I just thought that was interesting. Exercise-wise today, though, I can't remember if I've mentioned yet that instead of doing 2 days of arms, I was doing like 1 day of arms and shoulders and 1 day of like arms with light weights and like faster movements. I decided to switch out the arms and light weights day for a core day, and that is good. I think I shared that I did like the postpartum phase 1 core workout and it was like a little too easy, so I wasn't sure if I was going to continue. I decided to try out the phase 2 one this morning and it was good. It was still hard for me, so I think that that's like a good place for me to be. So I did that this morning, and I'll keep doing that. That's where we're at with exercise. Today's day 20, I believe. Is today the 20th of March? I think so. Today's day 20 of my cycle. Tomorrow's 21. I'm going to see what my temperature is doing tomorrow. And if it hasn't gone up yet by tomorrow, I'm just going to switch to my luteal phase type thinking, even though maybe this is an anovulatory cycle. I'm not sure. Next week's going to be different because I'm in Myrtle Beach. So we leave for spring break on Sunday. Today's Friday. I'm going to be out of town anyway, and so it makes sense to kind of change things up to adapt for that setting. And I will probably do a separate video documenting my movement during that. Welcome to day 21. Still no temp rise. This is going to be my official last workout of what is maybe still my follicular phase. I don't know. But I'm doing a bike camp by Jess Sims, and I appreciate how she just said, you just clipped in. You have completed the toughest part of the workout, which I can definitely relate to, because sometimes getting the shoes on and clicking in is the hardest part. That's what I don't like about bike boot camps, is having to take the shoes off and on and switch. Whew, that was a hard bike boot camp. I did a beginner bike boot camp with Jess Sims, who I've heard is pretty intense, and I can see why. I don't think I've taken a boot camp with her. I took some of the kid family fit fun classes with her before, and even those I think are pretty hard, so I was inclined to believe people when they said she's tough. But very encouraging. So my biggest complaint with the bike boot camps is, one, it's like putting the shoes on and off is really annoying. And then there's just not a lot of themed ones. I loved the Disney one last week, but that's really the only themed one I've found that I'm drawn to. I just need like old people music. That's my deal.